Hello.
It was an exciting week this week.
Very exciting. It says week 23.
Lots of stuff is going on.
Lots of stuff going on. So we had a exciting cliffhanger last week with Matthew confessing to killing Bill Malloy and grabbing Victoria and kind of holding her in his house.
Yeah.
So
he does that a bit more in the first episode.
Yeah.
And Frank and Elizabeth are trying to figure out where she could be, if she was fallen into a hole or a cave or whatever could have happened to her.
Mm-hmm.
And so we see that she's still struggling with Matthew, and he is strangling her. And then
she kept trying to escape, and she tried calling and the house and various things, and he kept blocking her, and then eventually started strangling her. And
yeah, we were like, she could have grabbed for any number of things to hit him with.
There were plenty of sharp
pots
objects
and pans. There were dishes. There were all sorts of things, but nothing. She didn't pick anything up.
Nope.
So then he was strangling her, and Elizabeth, not Frank.
You were wrong
I was
in your
wrong.
Prediction last week.
Frank
did not say that. It was Elizabeth.
Yes. So
Which
Elizabeth.
That's still pretty good.
Yeah, and she's just let her go, and so he does. And they kind of chat with him a little bit, but then he gets angry and he tries to strangle Elizabeth.
Well, he comes at her.
And then he realized what he's doing.
She did not flinch at all.
No.
It was just she's just staring down. It was pretty cool. Tough Elizabeth.
Yeah. So then he realized what he was doing, and then he took off. So she called Patterson and let him know, and so they put out some watch people over roads, all the
an all points bulletin.
Yeah, an APB.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then they kind of searched a little bit in his place to see maybe where he would have gone, and maybe this was later, but they found that he has a brother 50 miles away.
A letter from his brother to his brother or whatever.
Yeah, so they've kind of got someone on the watch that way as well.
Everything's 50 miles away from Collinsport.
Everything.
It's kind of weird. They found a car that fit the description of his car. The station wagon that he had, and so they figured, he's headed this way to see his brother.
Yep, so that gave them a little bit of relief.
He's long gone.
Yes.
But is he long gone?
No, he's not.
Where is he?
At the old house.
Yes, we see him again, footage of him shambling up to the old house.
And there's a secret passage behind a bookshelf there.
Right, so he's got a little secret hidey hole that he's staying in.
But David finds out that he's there.
Yes, not the hiding spot, but he finds out that
spot.
He's at the old house, because David went to the old house to talk to the ghosts and ask them where Matthew is, and then Matthew's like, "How'd you know I was here?" I didn't. I was just
everyone.
Yeah, he's very grabby.
So then they decide that David's gonna help him stay there, and he's gonna bring him food, and they're gonna find evidence that somehow Roger was responsible for the death still. Right. And my theory is that maybe David thinks that maybe he wasn't fully dead, he fell when he had the little altercation with Matthew, but then he wasn't really dead. But then when Roger was leaning over him and lost the pen, maybe he finished the job.
So which I don't think Matthew believes that, but Matthew's just sure, we'll hold off on evidence for your dad being the killer. Whatever gets him off the hook.
Yeah, for sure.
Keep him on the lam a little bit longer.
And then Victoria went for dinner with Frank, and then he invited her to come to Bangor the next day to visit him for the weekend and just kind of get some time away, which I think is good for her.
Yes.
Roger came back. He got out. They let him go. That was my prediction last week.
Your prediction was correct. Well, one of your predictions was correct.
Mine
wasn't. What was mine about David? David being found out to be the real killer.
Oh, yes. Well, not yet, anyway.
Right.
So Roger came back, and he was not happy with Victoria.
Right.
And
come on. It was obvious
it was just
that there was a lot of evidence
that she had to report. It's not like she said he did it, but she just reported the evidence as she saw it.
Right.
So,
for the record, if there's a lot of evidence that I committed a crime I didn't commit, and you believed that I committed that crime, I would not be mad at you afterwards.
Excellent.
Okay.
And then, Bert called and had Vicki come over. So she went over, and he was just like, I just want to know, how you were doing. Are you doing okay after the attempted murders? And, because Johnson went over and told him.
Right, because Johnson told him everything that had happened. And so he was a little bummed out that it wasn't Roger that killed
Yes, although
Bill.
Johnson said that she still believes that it was his fault because it was Roger's fault because he didn't.
Right. I think they just need an excuse to keep her on the show and at the mansion. So.
Well, then David went to Burke and talked to him about all his theories about what had happened and stuff, and Burke kind of squashed him, thinking it was still Roger, and he was like, I didn't think you'd stand up for him, and
That's what happened with Victoria and Burke.
Anyway, Victoria went, and he just was kind of like, oh, I was just making sure you're okay, and I heard what happened, and she thought he had ulterior motives to get more information from her, and she was like, no, I'm loyal to the family, I'm not going to tell you anything.
Yeah,
and
she doesn't want a part of, she knows he wants to destroy the Collins family, so she doesn't want any association with that. So
yeah. So then he grabbed her and kissed her, a good one.
Good one.
And she kissed him back for a bit and then pushed away and just said, no, this is not okay. And so she left. And then he got a phone call from Blair
about the Logansport Cannery, which he had put in his bid, and Elizabeth wasn't able to raise money enough to outbid him. So in time anyway. So the Logansport Cannery is going to Burke, so he had to gloat about that, and he called Elizabeth right up, and
well, Roger, and then Vicki came, and Roger was like, oh, I assume you know all of this because you were just with Burke, and he was probably gloating to you, and she was like, no, he didn't say anything about that, and by the way, I'm never going to see him again, because I'm loyal to I feel like I'm part of this family, and Elizabeth said, yes, you are. So, happily ever after.
Yes, for sure.
Was that...
Oh,
and did I already say that Roger was like, I forgive you? Yeah, I think I just said that. Never mind. Guys, I don't know.
Yeah, so he...
Okay, so he, forgives her as long as she's telling the truth that she won't see him again.
Right, of course.
Yes.
What else happened after that? When was that? What was that? The Wednesday, Thursday
Yeah,
episode?
that was Thursday, yeah. So we're on today.
So then today's episode, the most recent one that we just watched, we have...
Vicky's heading to Bangor. But
David had been bringing food to Matthew and pretending he was out feeding the birds, or trying to feed the birds, but the shed was locked, so he couldn't.
Yes,
but
that was
he
his
brought
excuse
more
before.
food to Matthew, and Matthew was enjoying it, and Matthew was gloating about the secret that he knows about the old house, referring to the secret room.
And someday he'll tell him when he's ready to when Matthew's ready to leave, then he'll tell David before he goes what it is, and David's like, I don't like when people keep things from me.
Yeah, and he had a little heart-to-heart with Elizabeth about that, and loyalty
and secrets.
And she's like, well, if someone's trusts you, then they won't have any secrets. And he's like, oh, okay, now I know how to test loyalty. So I don't know where he's going with that, but... Who
knows an 11-year-old's mind where that's going to go, but...
Right.
But then Vicki went to go find him because she was on her way out to Bangor, but they didn't know where David was, so she was like, oh, I know he's at the old house. So she went there to find him, and Matthew hid, but she dropped her wallet, so she brought David back to the house and realized she was missing her wallet.
Which Matthew grabbed when she left.
So she went back to get it, and she noticed these footprints, very obvious footprints.
Very obvious footprints leading into the wall or the bookcase.
So then Matthew was like looking for this or whatever he said.
Yeah, looking for something. And he had her little wallet. So, yeah.
So there we are.
Okay.
She didn't take her suitcase though, so her suitcase would still be in the house, so they would know that she didn't go.
Right.
So that's at least a good point there for her not dying.
They could think she changed her mind, put her suitcase.
She doesn't need her luggage. She doesn't need to wear anything all weekend.
Yes. She's with Frank. She doesn't need clothes.
So, I don't know. I feel like having her captured again by Matthew would just be too much too soon. But it seems like she's going to be...
It's two Fridays in a row, two last episodes in a row where we ended with Matthew having Victoria.
So my prediction is that perhaps that will happen, although I don't think it should happen, but maybe Frank will save her this time.
What will happen?
That Matthew will hold her hostage again.
I see.
Maybe Frank will save her this time.
Yeah? Maybe Burke will. Burke's even showing his feelings, so maybe they'll be fighting over who gets to save her.
And then she'll die in the meantime because they're taking too long.
And it'll end up being Elizabeth again. Yeah.
Do you have a theory?
Do I have a theory? No. About who's going to save her, or if she's going to need saving, or about anything in general?
I guess a prediction, I guess.
A prediction? No, I don't think so.
All right. We'll just wait and see then.
Okay, what do you prediction?
I said that she was going to get held again.
Oh, and rescued by
Yep, Frank.
by Hunky Frank this time. Okay.
Okay.
See how that happens.
All right.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.